Welcome to the 2013 Aloha Clinic training videos. This section is going to cover free kicks. Right after we finish free kicks, we're going to merge into scrimmage kicks, cover them both on this tape. So let's get started. Play number one is a starburst kick return formation, and that's when you get a group of guys circled here. They're going to come together and try to deceive the defense as to who has the ball. And we're not concerned about the guy on the left or the right or the back. We're really only concerned about the guy who's in front of the runner, because if he comes out with it, it's going to be illegal forward handing. So in this case, number 5. If anybody else gets it, we're going to be okay. And in this case, the runner did come out with the ball, the original guy that had it, so we have no problem. But I wanted to include this on here so that you'll know who we're looking for if we see a starburst on the field this year. Play number 2, we're going to talk about the free kick line, and there's also a hold on this play. And you can see here it's clear that the free kick line was penetrated before the ball was kicked. And if you watch the near official, you can see him kind of leaning down the field, meaning he was moving before the kicking team was beyond him. And you need to stay there and make your ruling. Now, as we move downfield, this is what I talk about when it comes to keys. We have to really know where our key is because we've got 4 potential hot spots on this return. The umpire who was covering the hash and that area picked up block number 2, which was a takedown hold. But based on your free kick mechanic, you need to take a look at this play and say, who's got group number 1, where you probably also have a hold? Who's got 2, 3, and 4? And this is a great video to discuss your free kick mechanic key responsibility.
During the return, holding number 37 of the receiving team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Play number 3 is another free kick line play, and the general rule of thumb is if it's not an onside kick, you want to have a foot down in order to call it. But in some cases, even if you don't have a foot down, you can call it. And I think this is one of those cases where it was called because pretty much his whole body's over the line because he's leaning so far forward that it is encroachment. It was called here, and I think correctly so.
Field.
Encroachment on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty. The kick will be from the 35-yard line.
Play number 4, another free kick line play. And the reason why we have the philosophy to have a foot down or the entire torso over, even if you don't, is because if we call a foul for these that are just really so tight, where maybe this guy has his hand or knee airborne in the neutral zone, we have to shut it down. It takes a lot of time, and nobody really enjoys that. NCAA, this is a live ball foul if you call it, so you can enforce it from the end. It doesn't disrupt anything. But in the National Federation, it does. And if you can let it go, let it go. If you can't, if you've got a foot down, or if you've got the body so far over the line that you have to call it, then by all means call it. But have a philosophy in place that allows you to avoid some of the ones that are just real tight. Play number 5, we're going to talk about a corner block. And the corner block or spring block is the block on the edge during a return that allows the return man to get around the corner. In this case, here it is. That is a key block, and we have to have our mechanics established, our lanes in place, so that we know who's going to be watching that guy on the corner. Because there is a hold there. You can see there's a flag thrown in for it, and it was properly called. So look over your mechanics, find who's responsible for your corner blocks, and make sure they have eyes on this, because he grabs them, twists them, pulls them, turns them around. Doesn't take them down, but this is a hold, and it does spring number 5 for more yards. It was a good get by this crew. We're going to stick with our theme in play number 6 as far as sticking with your keys and staying in your lanes. Unless nothing's going on, then you can check down to the next lane. Now in this play, we've got an illegal low block away from the action. So unless you're the official who's responsible for the offside action, we're not going to get this. So in this particular case, if we focus in on the players that I circled here and the direction of the circle, that's the official that has to stick with this area. Even though the ball carrier's not here, there's too much action going on. If you stick with it, it will present itself. And you can pick up this key low block, which is a very dangerous injury potential block, just by sticking with your key. Play number 7, we're going to move into onside kicks. And we already talked about free kick lines, but the standard is tighter on any type of onside or specialty kick. So in this case, we've got an onside kick. You can see there's a lot of action going on. Kicking team recovers the ball. No flags on the play. Ball goes 10, it's touched. Everything else looks pretty good. But when you go back and look at this, that is encroachment. In fact, even though he doesn't have a foot down over, that's encroachment because his entire body is over the line, even on a regular kick. So let's try to pick these up, especially on the onsides. Let's move into an onside kick, and we're going to talk about that blocking rule. Who initiates the block, when you're allowed to block, and in this case you can see there is a block right around the 9-yard mark from the kick. We've got a flag down for an illegal block against the kicking team. But watch this receiving team player go at him. He initiates the block. He's not going for the ball. So this is not a foul on the kicking team because the kicking team did not initiate that act. And once the receiving team initiates the act, any kicking team player can then block. Play number 9. I only put this in here because the free kick hit the pylon. I've never seen it before. The official was there, backing away from it, sees it hits the pylon, immediately rules touchback. Then he goes and fixes the equipment, does his job. Just thought it was a cool play. All right, let's move into scrimmage kicks. Play number 10, which is the first in the scrimmage kicks, is roughing the snapper. And we just don't see this very often, so I've got the guy highlighted. Ball snapped, blows him up. Correctly called. Because we don't see it very often, I was very happy to get this video so that we can take a look at it, remind everybody that that center has to have an opportunity to be able to protect himself after he snaps the ball. Play number 11, we had running into the kicker called, and this is a correct call, and I think it'll be pretty clear for you to see that. The defense jumps up, he's airborne, contact is unavoidable, but when he hits him, he doesn't follow through with anything high, no elbows. He just comes down on the guy, and just because the punter falls does not make it roughing. He tries to hold him up. There's a great call for running into. Play number 12 is roughing the kicker. We missed this one, but it's important to remember that the plant leg is critical. If the plant leg is hit with any force applied, it's roughing. And in this case, when we go back and watch the replay of it from the end zone, you'll see a little hyperextension of this knee as he comes down right there. That's enough for roughing the kicker, and we need to protect the players in these instances. So we need to try to adjust our angle, however we need to adjust it, to see that leg. Play number 13, roughing the kicker, was called. I think anybody in the world could have made this call. It's not only roughing the kicker, I guess it's kind of a chop. But roughing the kicker was called. A good get, gotta get, and correct call.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker, defense, 15-yard penalty for the previous spot, automatic first down.
Play number 14 is every now and then we're going to get fooled. Could be acting, could be the flop, whatever you want to call it. But this guy was not contacted and he drew the flag because he flopped. So be careful. Get yourself into a position where you can see the contact. Don't guess. But this guy just flies right by him. The guy just acts like he got swept. Good acting job. You got to hand it to him.
Just a brief. Oh, nice acting. We got to get the Academy Award out, guys.
Looks like number